Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Tiana and I make videos on lifestyle, home, and DIY projects every single week. And today's video is super exciting because it is my first mini makeover in my brand new apartment in LA. So if you're new here, I moved here almost 4 weeks ago from Chicago to LA. So for my first makeover in this new space, I'm redoing this little nook in my kitchen. Its intended purpose is to store garbage as well as be a little coffee or tea nook. But of course, I wanted to maximize that space, so I am turning it into an open shelving pantry. And I'm so excited to show you guys how it turned out because I think it is so good and I'm really obsessed with how it looks. I'm excited to share that this video is sponsored by Microsoft, and later on in the video I'm going to share how I use Microsoft Edge's collections feature to really plan out my whole entire space, and I think you guys are really going to love this feature. It's time to jump into this makeover, so let's get started. Alright guys, welcome to day one of this mini makeover. The first thing I'm going to do is of course just clear everything off. The space has really become kind of a catch-all, so all of our things that usually would go in an entryway, which we don't have set up right now, is just kind of piled on here, as well as some of our techie stuff. So I'm just going to take all of it and just move it out of the way so we can start off with a fresh blank canvas. Now that everything's out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and take some measurements of the space. And this step is really important just so that we can get all of the right items for this space and make sure that everything fits in here correctly. And since this is my first time installing any shelves, I wanna make sure that I get it all right. So now it is time for the most important part of any DIY, and that is to do your research. So as a newbie to putting up some shelves, I'm definitely going to need to do some research in order to complete this project correctly. So I want to thank the sponsor of this video and our friends over at Microsoft Edge for helping me with this next part. Their collections feature is really awesome and it's really going to help me research and put together this whole entire project. Hello from voiceover Tina. When I first moved into this apartment, I was actually super overwhelmed in figuring out what I wanted to do with it. There are so many possibilities and planning everything out was a very daunting task for me, but luckily Microsoft Edge's collection feature is here to help. Collections is an all-in-one feature within Microsoft Edge's web browser, and I love this feature because it allows you to organize and keep track of everything you're looking up online into collections. I've been using it to plan out different rooms in my apartment as well as trip planning for exploring the surrounding areas of my new home in LA. So whether you're a shopper, a student, or a DIYer like me, Collections is the perfect tool to mesh productivity and creativity into one. I started off by adding a few inspo pictures to the top of my collection so that I can reference it as I'm shopping around. My vision to the space is to add wallpaper to the back wall and then have 3 shelves going down. I really wanted to go for a terrazzo pattern, so I found a few options and then I had to narrow it down to one. So which one do you guys think I went with? When comparing a bunch of options, Collections in Microsoft Edge allows you to select product pages and compiles them into a super helpful table in Excel with complete details including price and ratings. And this was really great in finding exactly what I wanted. And what's even better is that Microsoft Online is free to use, so you can access Microsoft Word, Excel, and OneNote with your Outlook account. Alright, so now that I have a game plan, it is now time to head over to the hardware store to get my supplies. So what's great about Collections is that it is mobile friendly, so I use it on my phone in Microsoft Edge as I'm shopping in the store and planning on the go, and this was super handy. For my project, I got 3 common boards, and these are 1x9s. I got them cut to the exact measurements in stores, and I'm so excited to start building them. Alright guys, so I'm back from Home Depot and I have my shelves ready here. So now is the moment of truth. Let's see if this fits on the wall correctly. I'm kind of nervous for this. Let's go ahead and do that. Oh my god. I'm so happy that this fits perfectly onto the wall. This is just gonna give it a nice professional look, so I'm so grateful that it worked. And now all I'm really going to do is just to sand these and then maybe stain them. I'm really liking the color now that I see them in person, so I might just leave them as is, but either way they still need to be sanded down, so I'm going to do that before the sun sets. First, I'm going to start off by sanding my wood. I picked up a pack with multiple sand grits in it, starting with the coarsest one at 80 grit. The finish on the wood already looks pretty good, so I mostly just had to sand down the corners and the edges. I'm realizing that these only need to be sanded on the sides. They don't really need sanding on the tops and the bottoms, and that really saves some time. It's also super bright out still because the sun is setting right now, and happy sanding! After this first round, I moved on to the 150 grit sandpaper to smooth everything out a bit more. And finally, I moved on to the finest grit sandpaper at 220, and I used this over the whole entire piece to give it a super smooth finish. Then before moving on to the next step, I went over it with a damp towel to get rid of any sawdust. And now is the point where I thought I was going to stain it with this can that I picked up, but I actually really love the natural pine color of this, so I'm going to skip this step and move on to protecting the surface. For the most natural finish, I'm going to use a matte polyurethane over top, and I made sure to read the instructions before I applied anything with a foam brush. The polyurethane looks really milky in the can, but it applies super clear, so it literally looks like I'm just brushing on nothing in these clips. After I covered up all of the sides, I let it sit outside overnight to dry, and that was the end of day one on this project. Alright, so it's been a couple days since I last checked in, and since working on the shelves, I have done a lot of shopping and everything has come in, so now it is finally time to install my wallpaper. I'm so excited, but I'm also kind of nervous because I haven't even looked at it yet, and I can't wait to see it in person, so let's see which wallpaper I ended up choosing. It is time for the moment of truth. If I can open it. Am I opening it the right way? Okay. Oh my gosh! So these are nicely labeled because there's panel number 1 and then panel number 2. So let's open them and see how they look. Oh, it's so pretty! So here is the wallpaper that I chose. I went with a much more neutral and fun terrazzo pattern. I think this is going to look so good as a mini feature wall, and I just can't wait to put it up. I'm a little nervous because this is my first time putting up removable wallpaper. Wish me luck. The install of the wallpaper was actually super easy to do, so I followed along with the instructions provided, and I started in the corner with panel 1, and I just moved it all out as I was rolling down. I kind of got the hang of it pretty quickly because I'm very familiar with working on Cricut projects, so this kind of felt like a ginormous vinyl decal project. So here is how the first panel is looking. I'm really pleased with the results so far. This actually took me less than 30 minutes to put this first panel up, so I'm really happy with that. The only thing that I'm noticing is that since it is black underneath, you are gonna see it on this side of the wall, which is really annoying. And I think to fix that, I might add some caulk. I'm gonna say it that way because I don't want to say it the other way. I'm just going to continue with the second panel, and then once we get to the bottom here, I kind of just started jamming it, but we'll just cut it right along this edge. When I got to the second roll, I tried to line it up as perfectly as possible to match the pattern on the first panel, and since this pattern is super busy, it was easy to match up. The trickiest part of the entire thing was just going over the outlet, so my tip here is to go super slow and to use a utility knife to cut around it. If you run into any air bubbles, you can totally just poke a small hole in the middle and then just push out all the air, and that'll smooth it right out. And now my beautiful terrazzo wall is up. Alright, so I'm filming on my phone now because the lighting is getting super crazy. The sun is setting, so we have all these insane shadows, but I wanted to show you guys what the wall looks like, and it is so cute. I absolutely love how this came out. Obviously, you guys saw me struggle with this little area, but I'm going to fix it later, and then I will definitely clean up all these edges, especially since there is black on the countertop, so you can see that bleeding through. But the only thing that we have left to do is to cut this little edge off. You can also just fold it up over if you wanted to. Okay, I think for now I'm just going to fold it over just so that it has a nice clean edge, and then when I'm cleaning everything else up, I will go ahead and clean this edge. So now that my wallpaper is all up, it is time to finally install the shelves. I ended up going with these super simple brackets from Amazon. I just wanted to make sure that my wood would fit, especially since the pieces that I got weren't exactly 8 inches, they were 9 inches. And I like this option because you can have it hang off a little bit. And this also came with all the hardware that you needed, so it comes with the wall anchors as well as the screws. So I'm going to start measuring everything out and making sure that I place it correctly. So as a disclaimer, this was my first time installing any type of shelving, but the first thing that I did was plan out exactly where I wanted my shelves to be. So I just used masking tape and my handy dandy laser level to map it all out. Also, I wanted to mention that this was my first time using my laser level to actually level something out. I originally bought this as a guide for lettering wedding envelopes, but I'm happy to have this in my toolbox because it's a multi-purpose tool for both calligraphy and makeovers. Once everything was laid out, I measured 6 inches in on both sides to place my brackets. And after that, I just marked the holes out for each of the brackets right onto the wallpaper. To make things a little bit easier, I created a small hole for my drill bit, and I just lightly hammered in a screw, and I learned this little trick while I was doing my research. Using the provided hardware, I matched my drill bit to the same size as my wall anchors, and I drilled in each hole. And I'm not gonna lie here, I was a bit nervous, but after I drilled in my first hole, I totally got the hang of it, and I also got over my fear of potentially messing up, and everything turned out to be okay. Next, I hammered in each one of my anchors, and I'm making sure that they're all flush to the wall. All that's left to do is to install the brackets, so I just placed each one of them onto the wall. Okay, so after a roller coaster ride of putting this up, it is finally the moment of truth. Let's see if this will hold. Oh my god, I'm so happy! Oh my god, okay, let's level it. Let's make sure that it's leveled. Oh my god, I'm so happy right now. I feel like the shelves totally transformed this already, and I can't wait to put the second and the third one up. Oh my god, I can't believe this is reality. It looks so good. Oh my god. Okay, I'm so excited. All right, so let's move on to the second and third shelf, and then we should be done for the day. Oh my god, guys, I am so happy with how this is looking already. I think it really helps you draw your eye up, and I'm literally so obsessed with it. I think that we're gonna stop here and then just style it tomorrow and put some of the other finishing touches, and I'm so freaking excited. Good night! Is now the next day, and last night I couldn't stop staring at the shelves because this really does transform the whole space. And also, as I was staring at it, I was trying to figure out a way to kind of cover up those edges. So I could paint it or add some caulking to it, but ultimately I did not want to spend more money. So what I ended up doing was just cut up the wallpaper into very tiny strips, and this really helped cover up the black paint as well as just make it look a little bit more clean. So I'm really happy with how it looks, and I think this wallpaper is super forgiving, so you really can't tell where one piece ends and one piece begins. So all that's left to do is to screw in the shelves, style them, and then also do something about these silver knobs. I'm trying to change them up so that they look a little bit more cohesive with the rest of the space. To install the shelves, I marked each one of the bracket holes onto the shelves, and then I'm going to create some pilot holes by just screwing them in. To be quite honest, I fully intended to use my drill to do this, but if there's one thing I learned from this project, it is to work at your own pace and do what works for you. I'm still such a beginner to using power tools, and I felt much more comfortable with my screwdriver, so that's exactly what I did. After all my pilot holes are in, I'm going to screw into each one of the shelves, and I'm making sure that there were no gaps and that they were nice and sturdy. So now that the shelves are officially installed, the last thing that I need to do is to change up the knobs of the cabinets underneath. And usually these are pretty affordable to switch out, but for some reason my building has the most trickiest handles, and I can't find a really affordable solution anywhere. The ones on these cabinets are edge pulls, and they are 2 inches, and that apparently is not a very readily available size online. So instead I'm going to use some vinyl just to cover them. And since the rest of the cabinets are the same throughout the kitchen, I think this is going to be a good test run just to see how these hold up and figure out if I want to do these to the rest of my kitchen or not. So for this, I'm going to use some vinyl in gold, and this is really going to just warm up the cabinets. The knobs are looking so good. This is such a great renter-friendly way if you want to change out your knobs without actually having to spray paint or buy a whole new set. I would definitely recommend this method if you have similar drawer pulls. And now that we're done with everything, it is finally time to style. This is my favorite part. I have so many beautiful new pieces to display, so I'm so excited to just get this all done, and it's gonna look so good. One thing I wanted to note about this shelf is that since I just moved in, I do not have everything that I need for my pantry. What I'm styling on here right now is definitely just the start of it, and I'm leaving room to grow as I continue shopping for my new home. When styling a shelf, balance is key, so I'm making small groupings of items and dispersing colors throughout the shelf, just so that it looks cohesive, not just shelf by shelf, but also overall as a whole. If you're looking for more tips on styling shelves, feel free to check out a previous video that I did with some of my best tips, and also don't be afraid to just take things down and restyle it until you're happy with it. I'm super happy with all the pieces that I picked out and added to my collection for this project. Building out my collection really helped me organize and put everything together, from the overall inspo down to the technical aspects of installing the shelves, and also just picking out even the decor pieces. So whether you're a beginner or a seasoned DIYer, I would totally recommend that you try out collections in Microsoft Edge for all of your planning for future projects. And as you can see, I found a few functional items that were just so perfect for this area since it's going to be on display all the time. I just wanted to make sure that they were functional but also beautiful, and adding in the finishing touches really brings the shelves to life. This not only serves as a storage solution, but it also shows off my personal style, and that was really my goal with this whole project. Oh my gosh guys, this transformation came out so good. I am so happy with how it came out. Before I reveal it to you guys, let's take a look back at what this used to look like. It was a black wall, lots of cool accents, and not very cute or stylish at all. And now take a look at the after. Oh my god guys, what do you think about this transformation? I am literally in love with how it looks. I can't stop staring at it. So it just makes me so happy that I was able to take my vision and transform it into a reality. So if you guys ever have your heart set out on doing a project, I would say to go for it. So if I can do it, you guys can definitely do it. So I hope this video really inspires you to try something new out. Shout out to Microsoft Edge for helping me plan out this whole entire space. Be sure to click on the link in the description down below to download Microsoft Edge, as well as try out their new collections feature. It has been so handy, and I hope that you guys try it out. Alright guys, that is all for today's video. I hope that you guys liked this little transformation. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of it, and also let me know which space you guys want me to tackle next, because there are so many more makeovers coming. With that being said, don't forget to subscribe for new content every single week. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you haven't already. I'm posting on there every single day. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!